Hi, it's Stormywriter here. As the old adage goes, a boy's best friend is his mother. Horror films are full of mothers who are horrific for various reasons, and it isn't always just the sons that feel the wrath. Obviously, the first horrific mother that we come across is Mrs. Bates from Psycho, who kind of set the template for these mothers in the future. Interestingly, we don't actually really see Mrs. Bates. We definitely don't see the relationship between her and her son. But we do feel the aftermath, that stiflingness that this relationship has and how it has affected Norman. And we also have Pamela Voorhees, whose love of her son becomes an obsession after his death, blaming the campers that were there at the time and allowed him to drown. A similar revenge style mother is also prevalent in Scream 2, which is a great callback to obviously Friday the 13th, but also the fact it's in the sequel as well. Almost role reversal of how the Friday the 13th go. And like I said, it's not always the sons that suffer the wrath of their mothers. Carrie White's mum, with her religious anger, is worse actually than the taunting that she gets from her schoolmates. But who I want to talk about today is a different mama. It's from probably a little obscure film that maybe not a lot of people know, and it's called The Baby. And the mama we're talking about is Mama Wadsworth. Now, the plot of The Baby is a 21-year-old male is kept in an infantile state by his mother and his two sisters. It's one of those 70s exploitation films that's often in the horror section. But technically it's probably not really a horror film. The last 15 minutes go into axe-wielding territory, and I'm not going to give you any spoilers here. It's about as horrific as it gets. It is more of a drama or thriller, but doesn't take away the horrific nature of Mama Wadsworth. She belittles, she infantiles, but she has an angry temper that is often taken out on those around her, including Baby. And by the way, I'm not calling Baby just because it's the title of the film. The character himself isn't given a name beyond Baby. The film never really explores why Baby is kept in an infantile state. One of the reasons I think that it might be is due to the fact that there doesn't appear to be a father figure around. I can't remember, but I'm sure there's no mention of why there is no father figure. Of course, I could be wrong. Potentially, I wonder if the baby is kept in this infantile state because essentially all men are bastards, and if she allows Baby to grow up and be a man, all he'll do is be a bastard to women. So she keeps him in an infantile state, then he can't do that. And you also wonder how the two daughters have been brought up, because these two are clearly demented. There is more than a hint of an incestuous relationship between one of the sisters and Baby, and the other one likes to beat the shit out of Baby as well, including poking him with a cattle prod. This is not a happy family. Mama Wadsworth herself is reminiscent of, and this will be something that probably more British viewers will understand, a kind of Pat Butcher or Elsie Tanner, a kind of gruff, no nonsense battle axe. Somebody who's probably smoked 40 fags every day of their life and starts their morning with a pint of whiskey. But there's also a strange sexual nature about her as well. Even though she is so gruff and so coarse, you still feel like she knows how to handle herself. Ultimately, we follow a care worker who comes in, and I'm just going to check the cover because I've forgotten caregiver's name. Anne, she is invited into the home to be the kind of care worker for Baby, and she sees potential in Baby and wants him to go beyond his infantile state, which of course causes the wrath of the Wadsworth family, which ultimately leads to this horrific axe-wielding moment towards the end. It's a bizarre, psychedelic trip. There's a scene where Baby has a party. The party is not full of children, it's full of adults, and nobody bats an eyelid. I know the 70s was full of a lot of drugs. Surely somebody would have commented there's apparently a 21-year-old child having a party. As far as it being an exploitation film, it doesn't really live up to that. As I mentioned, there's only the horrific scenes at the end, and the sexual nature, thankfully, is only hinted at. The closest we get is a breastfeeding scene between the babysitter and Baby, which, while slightly horrific in nature, is still not as bad as if we'd got a full incestuous sex scene. I actually quite like The Baby as a film, mainly because it is so out there. You're never going to find another film like The Baby. It is well acted. It has a plot line, and it has a very nice ending. I think it's definitely a film that needs to be checked out more, and that Mama Wadsworth should get her place in the horror mums. Well, that's all for me for now. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll speak to you again soon.